Hi everyone, Professor B here, and I am here to talk to you about doing your screen capture recording in Zoom. We all as instructors at Broward College have Zoom accounts, and we use Zoom to meet with our students, so why not use it to record our screen captures? It's free, we have all of the tools necessary, and just like in Collaborate with Zoom, we have the ability in our screen capturing to share all kinds of things. We can include our video in these, of course, our faces, our own video in this. We can share a PowerPoint, we can share Word, we can share websites, we can share our D2L course shells, anything on our computer that we want to share, we can do it all in a single recording. Also with Zoom, we can use the annotation tools, and the recording is stored in the cloud, so we don't have to download it onto our PC. So Zoom is a really excellent tool for screen capture recording, simply because it allows us to do so much. Now, in addition to screen capturing, in Module 3, we're going to talk about going beyond your screen capture and maybe recording some video outside of your computer using your phone and things like that. Well, one of the really nice things about Zoom for iPhone users is if you have an iPhone and you've updated your Zoom account to the most recent account, you can actually connect your iPhone either wirelessly or with a cable directly to your PC, and then you can share the camera on your iPhone. So if you are, say, teaching a lab, or you have a whiteboard, you want to share an actual whiteboard with your students, you want to film something that's not necessarily on your screen, you'll be able to do that with your iPhone, if you have an iPhone. So until we can find for the Android platform, I'm not sure of a way to do that with the Android platform yet, but I do know that Dr. Perdian is looking into that, and we are trying to find a way to do the same thing with a Android platform. So on to our actual recording options here. So with Zoom, I just want to remind you that when we share our screen in Zoom, we can share applications. So if I want to give just a traditional lecture with a PowerPoint, I can do that here. Now I'm sharing my PowerPoint with the students. You can, depending on the student view, you can go into your Zoom settings and set it up so that your image is in the corner or on the side. I don't usually put my image when I'm with the PowerPoints. I kind of like it to be able to write on it. But of course, now I can give my PowerPoint presentation to my students, and I can, talk to them, ask them questions, go through all of these different slides with them, and of course lecture on it. I also have my Zoom annotation tools available to me. So if I want to point things out, I can do that with these Zoom tools. So that's an important part. I can certainly highlight things that are important as I'm talking about it. The nice thing about this screen capturing while talking is that, again, we're addressing both the audio and visual cognitive learning cues both at the same time. So it really is a nice way for students to be able to listen as well as visually comprehend what it is that you're teaching to them. One thing to remember with these Zoom tools, when you use the annotation tools, notice when I go to my next slide, the marks that I left, I first have to click mouse and then click on my PowerPoint presentation, and then I can move over to the next slide. When you use the annotation tools that are in Zoom, be careful, because the tool is going to leave the drawing up as you move through slides. It's actually kind of working like a clear layer on top of your presentation instead of actually in your presentation. So one of the things I would like to show you is how to use the annotation tools that are actually in PowerPoint instead of those that are in Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and clear all drawings so that those drawings are cleared. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment because I need to take my PowerPoint out of presentation mode to show you this. Oh, no, I don't actually. Let me go ahead and reshare it with you real quick. So I'm sharing my PowerPoint with you here, and if I right click on my PowerPoint slide and I get, hopefully you can see this, I'm not sure if you can, but if you right click on your presentation, you should have a drop down menu come up. And in the drop-down menu, about halfway down, you will see the title Pointer Options. When you mouse over Pointer Options to the right, another drop-down menu will show up and you can select Pen. So if you select Pen, I now have a pen that is in PowerPoint. Now I can circle things within PowerPoint, arrows, underline, draw, do whatever it is that I want to do. And when I move to the next slide, those markings will stay with the previous slide and not move over to the next slide like they did when I used the Zoom annotation tools. This is a lot smoother of a transition for you and for your students. You're not having to constantly switch back and forth between the mouse and the draw tool and picking colors and those sorts of things. All of that will be readily available to you, and it just resets itself for each slide. So now I don't have to do anything. I can just draw on the next slide. And when I move to the next one, I can answer all these questions, give them check marks, and I don't have to worry about those check marks showing up on my next slide. In the pen tool, if you go a little bit further down that second menu, it does say color options. So I use red just because it's easy to see, but you can use any color option that you want to that's available within PowerPoint. So again, this is the annotation tool within PowerPoint. So I can use this directly in PowerPoint and it will still show up in my Zoom recording. I just don't have to worry about clicking on mouse and then annotation tool and then deleting the drawings and then moving to the next slide and doing that process again. By using those annotation tools directly in PowerPoint, it's much smoother of a transition. Also, I just want to remind you that also in Zoom, you have the ability to share anything on your computer. You can even share your entire screen if you want to. So you have this ability to say you want to share a video. You would select share screen, make sure that you have share computer sound available, and then you would share your Google page or I'm sorry, your Chrome, your browser. So here I have my Chrome browser open. It's open to our course shell. I'm going to move over here. I have a video and I can share a video directly with my students. It'll record the sound, it'll record the video, and I can even talk about it. Now,
Hello,
here's where
and
the Zoom
welcome to
tools do
using the
come in
polling
handy. If you
tool
want
in
to
Blackboard
annotate
to
anything
collaborate.
on
The polling
on
tool
your
is a really
YouTube
fun
video
way
while it's
to
working, you
engage your
can use
students
the
in any
annotation
lecture
tools
material or presentations that you
in
might be
Zoom,
doing.
because
It's
remember, it
also a
works
good way to gauge
like a
whether or not your
transparency
students are
over top
following
of your
along
screen.
in the
So I
content that
can
you are
actually come
presenting.
in here
The
and
polling tool is
start
found in
highlighting
the
things.
Share
Look at
Files tool. So we
there's
are in
Dr.
our
Levine.
Collaborate
So
toolbox
we can
here.
come in and
That's
we
the
can
third
use
icon to
the
the right. It
annotation
has
tools on the
an arrow
video
pointing to the
as it's
right inside
occurring.
of a
This might
square.
be a
So just
handy
click
tool for
on
you
the
if you're trying to
Share
point out
Content
something
tool. If you scroll down below
um,
primary and secondary
really
contact, we
important
have an
in the actual
under
video
secondary contact
itself.
here, we have the actual polling tool itself.
So I'm going to go
Now, the
ahead
polling
and
tool is not
uh,
a quizzing tool. You can
pause this video here. But with the sound in that, we can circle things, we can stop the video and then annotate with our annotation tools in Zoom and highlight things and show things to the students. And this will make it a lot easier for them to see it, and we can kind of point things out. Maybe it's something that's not as obvious to the student as it might be to you. So because you have a trained eye in your subject, so you may want to point that out to them, and you can do that with these annotation tools, which is a really nice plus with using Zoom. Well, now I got to find the stop share. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So now that we've seen how to share, we can share an application. We can share, of course, you have the Zoom whiteboard. That's always an option if you're trying to do formulas or mathematics or anything that you might have to draw out or something like that. You can share virtual tours for art history courses if you want to take one of those wonderful museum virtual tours that a lot of museums around the world are offering. You can share that with your students through a recording and walk them through it yourself instead of just sending them out to a website and having them do it on their own. The students would much rather have you walk them through it, guide them through that museum, or guide them through a virtual tour somewhere, or through a particular process. And so Zoom really has a lot of tools that are available and allows you to do a whole lot of things in one single recording. So I hope you enjoyed and maybe learned a little bit or got some ideas on this short little lecture on using Zoom as a screen recording tool. See you in class.